All right, guys, the birds are going off outside. It's a crazy day up in here. I'm tired as hell, but I'm here with you. Let's do this. We have started this episode, I'm going to be honest, several times. We've got some sound issues going on. Nothing new there from me, but I am here to talk to you guys about social media today. And as much as I hate this topic, like I actually despise it, I feel like it's something that is very much of value in 2026 because we have the ability to reach human connection between each other. And it's like this. It's a tool that is super powerful when used correctly. And I feel that I keep noticing how incorrectly it's being used and why people aren't growing. So I want to be able to provide my expertise in building my following, and 99% of my business comes from social media. It funnels in from that. So I'm going to share a little bit about my perspective, which is definitely not what most experts will tell you. The power of social media is insane. It's like, think about how many times you've seen a reel on the Explore page of somebody you've never met before in your life, and you feel like you have to share it with everyone you fucking know. Why is it that it pulls you instantly? And then all of a sudden you feel like it's like living rent-free in your head the rest of the day. Sometimes I will start cracking up on something like 15 times throughout a day on like a hilarious reel that I watched, and it brings me just like this simple added joy to my day, and I instantly follow that account because if it can do that once, I'm convinced as a consumer that it can provide that experience to me over and over. When I think of social media as a business, I understand the elements of where to route all of my posts. I feel that we are being misled from the experts on like certain key, strategies that you hear all the time. And so I'm going to go over basically the lies of social media and why they don't work, how they translate to followers as a very misleading thing that you should be doing, and why people aren't growing at the rate that they want to. I think that this new way can help improve your business, your brand, and make it feel much more authentic and real and mimic the mission in which your brand represents. Welcome back to the podcast.
Down from the mountain, she found her true colors. Landed in Texas, but she's still drawing hollers. Rashelle's her name, and she's the real deal. But don't blink, cause the art's for real.
Okay, so my method in social media and growing a following is fuck the rules. For years, I've always tried to stay very up to date on algorithm changes and, what they're saying is being pushed out more as far as if you do this type of content, if you follow this trend, if you use these songs. Like, it's just so saturated and it's too easy. And I feel like any time that people are like agencies and these social media experts that typically, I'm sorry, but a lot of them have never had a business. They don't understand how to scale a business if they've never had one. And thirdly, they do not understand, because they've never actually done it themselves, how to build a successful social media platform. If you've never done it yourself, I don't give a fuck what you have to say. Like, I need to know that you can prove in numbers. I need to see client testimonials. If I don't see that, I'm not buying from you. I have been so misled in my career trusting these people that I thought would make my life so much easier. And it went the opposite way, and I spent a lot of money, and I was like, what am I doing? So here's like the biggest lies. I have 3, and they're the three things that you hear the most, that creators, talent, brands seem to think is going to get their accounts to pop off. So if you're unfamiliar with me, I'm a professional artist. My name is Rashelle Stetman, and I have been doing professional art for like 15 years-ish. And I was a tattoo artist. I travel around, I build out vans, and I have a crazy career. I have a lot of stories. I've lived all over the United States, and I've done a lot of shit. But in that time, the thing that always brought people to me was my social media, is what gets so many brands, companies I've worked for, celebrities, athletes, like all of these amazing opportunities that have come my way have come from social media. So I understand firsthand why this is such a powerhouse, and that you don't want to miss out on that as a business owner. You are able to be in front of such a massive group of people versus if you just have a brick and mortar, how many people are walking by that place? And I don't have a brick and mortar. So my opportunity in numbers is hugely influential when I think about it on social media. All right. So the first kind of point that I would like to make is these agencies and these experts and these people who say, we're going to help you grow your following. We're going to help you get discovered by the masses, right? The one thing that I hear so much, it's always stayed very prominent, it seems, in, I guess, Instagram preferably, throughout the last like 10 years, is posting every day. Like, oh, if you post every day, that consistency will earn, the return will be a lot of followers. And people assume a lot of the time that a lot of followers, like a massive surge in followers, means that's going to translate somehow to an ROI. And that is absolutely not true. What also isn't true is posting every day brings you a lot of followers. It's just not true. The reason I bring this up is because if you think about building a business and how to scale it, you want to make the skill or the product in which you sell feel that there is a demand, that it's unique or rare, and that you can't get it all the time. These create this craving for what you have to offer in life. And I think that when you can mimic that through your social media, you're telling people why you're different. When you are posting every day, you're telling people you can expect that something that's not that great of quality will come out every day and be fed to you. In my opinion, it doesn't tell me any of the three things I just mentioned. It doesn't tell me you're rare or unique. It doesn't tell me you really spent time putting much thought or value into it for the people that want to consume it, learn something from you, or gain an understanding in what you're putting out. And it definitely doesn't build this further craving for what you could have to offer. You want to leave people wanting more. So I find when I post less and I really spend time on quality content, that's when I do the most damage in the social media world. And this can go a ton of different ways. This doesn't mean that you have to stay perfectly within your niche. This doesn't mean that you always have to do, the same types of posts. This means be a little risky. This is the opposite information that I feel like all these agencies and all these experts tell you. I'm here to say that I did it so fucking different, and it worked out every single time I decided to stop listening to these people. It's not to say that their method hasn't worked before, but if you think about a competitive market, how is it that if everyone is doing the same thing, train the same, this feels like communism. This feels like communism in business. We're telling people, we're training people to all do things the exact same way. You know what that does? That helps you be seen the exact same way as this person over here. I want to be different. I want to be remembered. I want to be rare. I want to be the person that people can't wait to share because something stood out to them, which means you're going to do things differently. Strategy and how you implement that is everything. I think that when you stand out, you have the ability to reach people on a level that is so much more unique, and it's just memorable. So posting every day, the concept is great for consistency, but in terms of what that content would look like, for it to be available for really talented, in-demand people to be creating that content every day, really hard. You would have to be a massive company, have people that are working around the clock doing that. Oftentimes, my clients that I've consulted with are not those people. They're startups, they're brands that now are huge, by the way. They're crushing it. So it's like, you start doing something, you know you're of value, you know yourself the best, you know what you have to offer. Now we just have to figure out, how do we take that and put it on a platform in a way that it's the most true to what feels like the least amount of work, but the truest to you. Sometimes that doesn't mean you're posting every day. Like, I don't draw every day. Some days I'm working all on admin stuff. Sometimes I'm working all on just art, but it's like, it's so different day to day, and whatever requires my time and I need to be the most present for that. So I'm the same way with editing, filming, and pushing out content. I'm going to do that at the best of my ability, because if I have one option of someone coming across, a new follower coming across my page for the first time, I want to make sure that they see a fucking reel that I'm proud of, that they see something that exemplifies who I am as a person, who I am as an artist, and what I stand for. Those are the things that matter to me. You can take, that kind of concept and then apply it to you personally. But if you have one shot with a new follower to see something about what you're putting out, don't you want it to be something that you feel so fucking fire about, that you feel just lit up, like, I'm so proud of that, or I'm really glad that I spoke on those parts of my business and I put these visuals to it, instead of just pumping one reel after another, or I'm going to post a picture today, or this or that. What it feels like to the consumer's end is, first of all, you're boring as fuck. Second of all, it's kind of cringe. Third of all, it looks like you're lazy. And I'm like, okay, are they trying to make us fail? Because to me, anything I put less than 100% in is going to look like and feel like less than 100%, because people aren't used to that with me. So if you have a high end, if you consider yourself a high value person, why would you be putting out content that's less than that? Like, that's just, to me, it doesn't make sense in business terms. And so that's why I say a lot of these people, from experience, from understanding, but also like in hiring some of these agencies or these social media like growth companies or whatever they are, once I've hired them and I start realizing, I'm like, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, nothing's happened. I realized I asked them the same question. It's happened like 3 or 4 times until I was like, I'm never doing this again. But I was like, have you ever owned a business? No. So they just work for the company. Have you ever built your own social media brand? Like, how are these people getting fucking jobs? These are like weather people. Like, these are people who are like, I predict that it's gonna fucking rain, and it's like they're wrong and they still get a job the next day. Like, they're still being able to show up for work, and they were completely wrong and failed. To me, I just feel like you have to prove that you've done what you're willing to say you're going to do for your client. I actually can say that. I have built a social media that is at, it's like 198,000 followers on Instagram. Then I have 2 other accounts on Instagram in the thousands. I think across all platforms I'm at roughly like 350K. And my reach is massive, right? So like if I post one place, I understand too, from platform to platform, how you change that type of content based on what people want to consume in that space specifically. Beyond that, I understand that across all platforms, you need it to be something that always feels real to you. Something that feels like you don't have to ever look at it and go, I feel so cringe, Like, I don't know if you're ever going to like hearing your voice. And I certainly don't know if I could ever speak to the fact that I don't feel cringe when I see myself on camera or I hear my voice. I hate it. But the content at which I am putting out there, I need to be proud of. I need to be proud of the artwork I'm showcasing, the projects I'm taking, the clients I'm speaking on. I need to feel that there's something of value in everything I put out, or else the people that you've like built this trust and this excitement with, they start to feel like you're getting lazy. And I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to be me, and I don't do anything with shortcuts. It's just not who I am. So I always tell my clients, I'm like, you know what? Enough with this posting every day. It's a weird thing to put pressure on yourself every day versus quality. So we have to start thinking creatively about how do we now add an art form to how we put that content out. So as an artist, I thought that my job was just like be the artist and then show people what you do. It used to be just photos. Now it's like reels and stories and highlights, and you can, take polls of like what people, think of whatever, and you can ask them to engage. There's so many different ways to get people interested in what you're doing. And you have to really think about this like a business rather than social media as a separate entity. Social media should be reflecting your normal self in real life. So think about what's worked in your business. Think about what works in your talent, what people give you feedback on in the real world. Because remember, this is the real world. Social media is like and we get this backwards sometimes, like especially like younger people, but like the real world should be what feels like it drives your social media, not the other way around. So I'm not going to go do things redundantly in my life that feel like I'm doing them just to do them, because that's my time. And our time is so valuable. So I think there's a different way that we kind of go about this than the posting every day, but bring that concept of consistency in to your social media. I see tons of talented creators doing this and not gaining the following that they want or any growth at all. In fact, their followers will go down because people can read that they're doing that strategy of like posting every single day. And it's just this it's like ton of output, but low quality. Well, what does that make them want to learn about what you're actually offering? It doesn't really like build intrigue, So I just think like it's not going to get you anywhere. I believe in the less is more strategy because you're, again, focusing on the quality versus quantity. This is what helps people feel something strong. They start to build this trust that you are, if it's been 5-6 days, sometimes I'll go 2 weeks and not post. And man, people are like, are you dead? And I'm like, I fucking love that. I love when people ask me if I'm dead, because you know what it tells me? It tells me that people are waiting to see what the hell I'm up to. And I'm always up to something, man. And I feel like as business minded humans, and then entrepreneurs, people who are hungry for like that next thing, people who have big dreams, you have to be so like, you have to drop breadcrumbs, that's what I say, on the stories of like little things that you're doing. They're probably big things, but you're just leaving just enough to tease them. And the reason I say this is it builds this anticipation and this craving for your content without giving it away. It lets them know that you're bringing them in to have some interest, but that you can't give it all away up front. And like, if you think about this in psychology and dating, like how much more interested are you in the person that reserves a little bit, which is like literally not me. But I'm like, I should build mystery in my business because mystery builds intrigue. It builds what I really want to know what it is, right? So like when you post on a story, this is how you're going to keep that consistency. You're going to post on a story a cropped photo of what you're working on, of either your business setup. If you're a musician, it's going to be like part of the recording studio or part of the song that you're writing, or a very short teaser of the sound of that song, like you actually playing it. It's going to be, a section of the painting, maybe a really close-up one where you can't even actually see what it is. And then you ask people to engage. You invite them into your world. Come into my world and tell me, what do you think this painting could be? Guys, guess what this is. Can you guess where I'm at? Can you guess what I'm doing? Can you guess what I'm about to come out with? Would you guys be interested in this? And you're asking for them to provide value, which makes them feel needed. This is such a huge piece that people are missing in business, that to me, it makes me feel, not only do I want to consume or buy from this person, but I want now to go back and feel needed again. It's like this weird psychological experiment. And I think a lot of social media really is traditional business. It's good business, and that's why I think like you should always listen to people who have built and scaled businesses to know how to mimic that method through their social media. Consistency in the real world, I think, should always come through on that authentic like vibe in your social media. It just makes the most sense, and it feels the least like this doesn't seem like the right person. And you can tell when someone is running someone's social media account versus themselves running it. You can just tell. You're like, this is some fucktard that is running this, that is not backing the same morals and ideals and thesis of what the company I know I bought into several years ago is about. And that is the truth of these agencies and stuff. They all of a sudden you see the content switch, and very rarely I would say that it could work out. But overall, I think it's best that you keep it within your powerhouse, within your control, because you're able to kind of build something that comes from you all the time. You're able to be like, okay, when that really amazing moment of inspiration strikes, you're on it. And whether it's like one take, you talking to the camera, like people believe it because it's wholeheartedly you. It wasn't, you need to do something that's this. It's like, okay. And I'll get into that. There is value in certain like collaborations and things you could do to help scale and build following and like have more of a reachability. But again, it needs to tie back to what are your core, like, what's your mission? What are your goals? Who are you? When you start from that and you know that every post comes from a place that is true and real, I don't think you can go wrong. That's just my opinion. So when you're pushing out content so often, I think you can get really far away from like what you started, whatever it is for. And I've definitely unfollowed accounts where I see that they post all the time and it's just like very redundant, and it feels like I don't feel special, I don't feel needed, I don't feel regarded. I feel that they, and maybe this is because I know so much about social media, but I feel like they hired one of those agencies that was like, this is what you do, because I see that type of shit all the time and it is so fucking annoying. I'm like, I didn't start following you for this. And then you know what? You lost not only a customer, I'm probably not going to buy your shit anymore. I'm certainly not going to follow you because now I feel like you're just like another ad or something. It's just annoying. So the reason how I can like kind of apply this to a brick and mortar, like let's say it's like a apparel store, right? An apparel store doesn't come out with a new t-shirt every day, do they? They don't come out with a new hoodie. They don't come out with a new product every day because they're building, here's the line. We put it out for this amount of time and there's this limited amount of pieces. It builds anticipation for the next one. It builds the excitement of like, this is, you only have this many options. and you crave more. You're excited for what's next. If you're doing it all the time, what makes it special? And then you're just like everybody else that's doing the same shit. And there's so many other people. Let the other people do that kind of content. You're special and you know why. And we're going to get to how you use that in your everyday advantage. And you can still be consistent, but maybe through stories, maybe through other things that are not, a post every day. Also, I think it kills your confidence if you see yourself posting every day and then you're not getting the engagement that you want, on top of questioning, like, is this fucking cringe? Because it's kind of feeling cringe to me. Like, let's not put you through that. Let's have you be proud of what you put out there. I just think that that is like the greatest thing. Like when you think of your favorite creators and you think about the breathing room from one post to another, I don't see famous people doing that. I don't see the most talented people I know pushing out content like that. Why? Because they're like, dude, I got it. And honestly, some of the best, most talented people I know, they don't do it either. Because they believe in themselves enough to go, that seems like bullshit to me. And I appreciate that because I think more people need to have that mindset in that they're speaking from a place of truth. It's refreshing. I want people searching my name because they haven't seen my shit. And it's like, that's the best when people are like, oh my God, are you dead? Like, are you okay? Are you alive? I'm like, fuck yeah. And it's funny because I'm not even doing it on purpose. But when I know that people notice my absence, I'm like, it just rings true to this whole strategy is like much more badass, like you're an in-demand person. We're all fucking busy. So like, why don't we just be ourselves, like we're not being ourselves pushing out content like that. It's ridiculous. You actually are busy as fuck. It shows that you're in demand. It speaks to it, and demand attracts. Okay. So stories are way better than consistent posting because stories show that you are still showing up every day. And you don't have to do it every day. Like sometimes I'll blast fucking like 10 stories in a day. And sometimes I won't do a story for like 3 days at a time. But I think stories are a more like lifelike feeling. You're not going back and editing it. You're not, it's not this over polished type of content. And I like that about stories. You feel like you're with someone here and now in the present, and it feels really relatable. So this is a great way to engage your audience and ask them things. Ask them, would you be interested in this and this and this? This applies because I'm working on something over here. It makes their wheels start spinning on what it is that you're going to put out at the same time that they feel like now they've added value to you, and you're going to thank them and you're going to have these personal conversations with them. This is how you build loyal followers, loyal clientele, and this is how it funnels to translate to a sale. So I really believe this. So the posting every day, it's not on the post. It's going to be through stories would be more consistent. That's a great way to kind of like, kind of work in between like having to be posting every day, but also, you can kind of be a little bit more personable and actually in real time with people, which I think is really cool. I find that I'm a lot more myself in that way. Like I don't feel as stressed out.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break to talk about my friends at Rust and Iron Clothing Company, a firefighter-owned apparel brand out of Northern California. Built for blue-collar culture, the outdoors, and everyday lifestyle. But Rust and Iron is about more than just clothing. Every single purchase helps fund mental health therapy sessions for first responders and military members through their partnership with the Overwatch Collective. I have such a huge heart for anything that supports our veterans and first responders. Some of the greatest moments of my art career are when I'm creating at veteran events. I am now Rust and Iron's exclusive artist, so from here on out, you'll be seeing my drawings on their apparel. You can check them out at rustandironclothing.com and follow along on Instagram at rustandironclothing. Now back to the show.
So the second I would say, lie that a lot of these experts and social media agencies will tell you. Beyond posting every day, which is the number one thing they always say. The second one is stay in your niche. Niche down. Stay super, super concentrated on staying in that. I disagree because I feel like it doesn't pull a little bit of risk assessment. And you want a little bit of risk. The reason why is risk pulls more data. Risk is going to pull more different types of people to you to then find what it is that you do. So there's a certain percentage, I would say, of posts that you should be going, this is going to be a more risky one. And in these types of posts, and these are not going to be just stories. Stories, I think, are great talking points to like introduce people to like your vulnerabilities, your insecurities, your likes and your dislikes, things that are outside of the realm of what you're selling or what your main thing is, right? So me as a professional artist, I recently in the last like couple years started opening up about my political views, my world views, my views on government. You know, I'm a huge patriot. I love this country and I'm like pretty fucking flabbergasted at what the hell's going on. So like I'm speaking on these things now, and I was so scared for so long. You guys, I have literally gained thousands upon thousands of followers doing this. Not through art, but through the fact that so many other motherfuckers are feeling the same way. It is relatable, it's shareable, and people like it. They like feeling less alone. We're all like, fuck, this shit's crazy, you know? Like, unless you're living in a cave, truly, I think everyone's got opinions on and feelings on what's going on in the world. So worldly things that you can really connect with other people, not only do other people feel like less alone, sometimes triggered, sometimes really upset with you. Occasionally you will get unfollows, that will happen. But it's really nice to not feel so alone in all this. Like, I actually feel like in this way, it does something for you as a content creator, which makes you think, it makes me feel like I am not only on here to put things out, but I'm here to gain real friends and good people in my life. And I actually have. I've gained some of the greatest, most kind, wonderful people from social media. And I don't know why that's become this weird thing where it's like, oh, you can't meet people on the internet that are of quality. It's like, well, then why are any of us doing this? We're all on the internet. We're all doing this shit. So, I mean, like, one day I'd like to not be and be churning butter in the woods, but I'm just saying for now, this is where I'm at. And I feel like when you think about a whole, you know, country or a whole world of people, and then you think of what really affects you within, for me, it was like within my country, things I was noticing, things that were like, oh my gosh, I feel so, like this is really affecting my work. This is really affecting my life. This is concerning to me. I started going, well, if I'm an artist and I am honest and I'm leading with honesty to drive my work, which is what an artist should always be doing, because it's coming from a place of heart, right? Not like thinking of like the that's not where the business sense should come in my opinion as an artist. But I think that you find your people that way. And it's like this really amazing thing. It's this really amazing benefit as a creative and as someone who's used this marketing tool to drive most of my business, that I also get to meet wonderful people. Like the odds of that are just, I just kind of didn't see it coming. But once I started like risking a little bit and I started talking about these things, I was terrified at first because it's like nobody wants to know what you think or feel or, you know, think outside of art. And there's a lot of people that will say that. But there's so many more people that are like leaving me feeling less alone and more encouraged to keep being who I am. There are people that will love you no matter if you have a difference of opinion, and they'll love you because they feel like their opinion now for the first time was validated. I mean, there are people within my own family that have very different thoughts and beliefs than I do. There are friends of mine that do, but man, I've connected with people on social media that we can actually have conversations about it, and somehow it's not this like, it doesn't become like a knockdown, drag out fight. It's possible that we can create a better world just by feeling a little less alone with each other. And I think that that's a beautiful opportunity that social media offers us that doesn't have to stay right in your niche. And so when you tease these through stories and you bring them up maybe in voiceovers over the work that you're producing, right? So whatever you're doing, try and find really fun, entertaining visuals. Like the video needs to feel, that's what it needs to do. It needs to leave people feeling a sense of they're inspired, whether it's by your work ethic, it's by the production, it's by, I didn't know how that was done, it's by the technique you're using. Whatever it is, you want this to leave people feeling something that makes you memorable. I think that that's so important, and these are really great moments through Reels that you can add just a little bit of like your thoughts that maybe you never really integrated in your social media. But you guys, if the world is changing at such a rapid rate, if so many things are going on, doesn't it feel, have you ever asked yourself, it's kind of weird that I've never talked about it? Because we're all feeling something. Unless you're dead, you know, like if you're not there, then I don't know. But I feel like if you've got like this fire and passion in your heart, like you feel something, just fucking do it. Send it. Ask people what they think. Build this conversation starter, because other people need an outlet too. And if you can give them that, I guarantee you they become a loyal follower because they feel so special that you included them in that. And it's like it's a friendship that you create this very unique, like new 2026 way, you know, like this doesn't have to be this impersonal, you know, internet AI bullshit. It doesn't have to be like that. It can actually be, we can bring traditional stuff back forward, human connection back forward, but through this platform. And for me, this has created a big difference. And I can be myself a lot more because I'm not hiding behind like, oh, don't do that. Like, you don't want to rock the boat. It's like, fuck, I'm going to rock that motherfucker. Like, screw that shit. I feel like it's time to go, you know? Like, morals, values, beliefs, loves, hates, all of it is you. And people want to invest in something they feel. If you fucking piss them off, that's feeling, baby. And they're going to remember it. And as much as it's like, that seems like a bad thing and they might unfollow you, guess what it definitely does though? What did they say? It's like all PR is good PR. All press is good press. It's like, that's true. Making an impact doesn't mean that you will have everybody like you or agree with you. What it means is that you know what you stand for. And the more that you stand and who you are, the more authentic everything that you put out is to who you are. You cannot stray from that. You have to stay really true to it. And that's how over time these brands, like, they kind of go downhill because they started on this very like strict mission statement, all this. And then I think they went with all the trends. And the trends will fuck you because you look like everybody else. And you need to look like you at the end of the day. You are the only person and you are the only part of your company that understands what truly made you want to do this in the first place. You know what you have to offer more than anyone else. So I think when you have other people have, one, control of what you're posting, that's wrong. Two, tell you what to post. And three, tell you what not to post. Fuck all of this. This is all rules and it's weird. And I feel like the more I've strayed away from that, the better my life has become, the easier putting out content has become, the more forgiving I've been on, like, I don't have anything to post this week. I'm working on this. There's really nothing that I want to put out there. And so I'm like, okay, I'll connect with people on stories, or I'll go live, or whatever. But you can find other ways to connect. It doesn't have to be doing a whole reel and posting. I just think that's super important to know that it's all right to move a little bit out of your niche, you know? And I think it gives people this like personal insight to knowing you more. And when they know you more, when they feel like they have this personal connection to you more, that's what brings the feeling. And feeling is what sells. What do they say? It's like feeling. You're not selling a product. You're selling the feeling, or you're selling the experience that product gives you. It's like the possibility of what you could feel, the possibility of what you could experience with that thing, instead of, so here's the art piece, it's this big, here's the dimension. It's like, oh my God, I'm bored, I'm dying inside, you know? Like, you have to come from a place of like really authentically you, and that's the stuff that you always want to share with your friends when you're fucking cracking up. And you can find different ways to do it. Do something that's funny, you know? Do something, just be who you would be with your friends. Be who you would be with the people that you feel like you can be the most yourself with. That's the content you should be putting out. In my opinion, that is what works. The more vulnerable that you are, the more people will feel easy. They will feel their guard is down, and they will feel encouraged and welcomed into your content. That is just the truth of everybody. Anytime someone who like talks about like, oh, I got made fun of in high school, here's where I was, here's where I am now, like, I really hope that these things work out. I've seen so many things go viral like that. You want to know why? Not even because they're where they want to be, not even because they're like, I'm a star now or I'm famous, but because they're saying, I own that I was this person and these were the circumstances then, and I believe in myself enough. How many people cannot fucking relate to that? It is so relatable. It instantly hits your heart. And instantly you love this person. You're proud of this person because you see yourself in that person who hasn't felt that way before. It's the easiest, most relatable content ever, is vulnerability, those insecure moments that you share. I shared a post on having, I've had extreme psoriasis outbreaks all over my skin. And I had men look at me at the gym like I was just like this leper, and they would move away from me, and I felt so embarrassed, and I couldn't be in the sunlight for like, it was like 2 months. I lost all this weight. I tried getting on this medication that was like making me super sick, and I just felt so incredibly uncomfortable in my own skin, literally. But I did this reel on it. And I showed the actual, like, what I looked like. No makeup. It was from head to toe. I mean, it was so bad. And I showed a bunch of people on a reel, and I said, this is perseverance. And it was from overworking myself. Being a hardcore entrepreneur, I started a greeting card line. I was working with all these distributors. And it was so much pressure that I wasn't sleeping. I had employees. I was just losing my fucking mind. And I shared this, and it went hyper viral. I mean, massive. And then all these people who also had gone through this were like, I am so proud of you for sharing this. I never would have the courage to be able to show like what it's looked like when I had a psoriasis outbreak, and mine lasted for 8 months, and it's like I realized how many other people. So I put it out there to have people understand that my life is not this perfect fucking thing. None of these people on social media, their life isn't that. Just because they show mostly that, that's just because they're feeling lit up and excited about it. I don't particularly want to be a drag to people, so I don't show people my worst days. But this was a very difficult chapter, and I happened to look back and go, wait, I have photos on this, all this stuff. I think people might relate to this. And this was a really insecure time, and it showed how hard I was overworking myself, which brought back like this entrepreneurship. It actually brought in the level at which I work to kind of show new people, this bitch works really hard to get to where she is. Like, being a professional artist is not an easy thing. It takes a lot of drive, a lot of like, you know, all-nighters and all this stuff, and you're giving up a social life, you're giving up your sleep, you're giving up you know, building a family, meeting a man. Like I gave up that time to build my art business, and I decided to be a tattoo artist. Like, let's fucking just add that in there. So it was a lot, you know, and there's so many other people that connected with me on that. And you know what I got out of it? I got friends through it. And I thought this whole point was, you know, show people that your life isn't this fucking perfect thing. Because people are like, wow, you're just always happy. I'm like, no, I don't want to put that out in the world. I don't want people misunderstanding who I am and that my life is this perfect thing. It fucking is not. It's actually, I've had some very difficult chapters in my life, and I just want to be real with people. And I gained friends through that. I gained so much support and love through that by sharing the thing that I used to be so embarrassed about. And if you can lead with humility, it is amazing how much that'll change your life. And I'm talking in the real world and on social media. But that's the thing that, like, AI will never be able to replace human feeling. So remember that that's the thing that's going to stick out the most, in my opinion, on social media. That's what's going to separate you. That is not the posting every day. That is not the strategy. Fuck the strategy. You are selling feeling, honey, and you are selling it from a place that is really wholeheartedly you. So when you pick up that fucking camera and you start filming yourself, it doesn't feel cringe. It feels real. It feels like something you can believe in, that you're like, I kind of want to watch this, even though I hate seeing myself. Like, I kind of want to watch it because you want to be proud of yourself because you did make it through that time. That's the content that I want to consume, come across. It inspires me. It leaves me thinking I can do this. It leaves me encouraged. It makes me want to buy from them. So you get friends, you get followers, but you get support, and you get these like really great timeless relationships. So that's my opinion and what the possibility is of going outside your niche. Now, if I never did that, I'd only strictly be on art still, and how fucking boring is that? It's just boring. By the way, all different types of people are art buyers. Doesn't mean they're finding artists primarily on Instagram. So what you're doing is you're able to indirectly pull different people to your profile without directly trying to target them as an art buyer. But a lot of times, oftentimes, they end up translating as a client or someone who buys a print, or just like being enticed on something that you're doing, an engaged follower, someone who always is hyping you up, someone who's always supporting you in the things you're doing, sharing your content. That's amazing. That's like, those are the relationships that you really want to build on here. And who knows, they might be speaking to people in the fucking real world about what you do, about the service you provide. Maybe they know Fortune 500 companies that end up going, hey, I heard about you from so-and-so, and it was from your psoriasis reel. You know what I'm saying, homie? Like, that is the shit. That is like, it's unplanned, but it's great. And like, don't be afraid to like take the polls on stories too, within when you're going outside of your niche, asking people, do you, like, as a follow-up story to the first time that you introduce like new thoughts and feelings on like what you like actually, what's actually going on in your like internal world outside of what they see all the time, ask them like, are you interested in this? If not, like, what kind of stuff would you like to know I think about? Ask me questions. Like, that's how you get to know your audience. When you show that you want to get to know your audience, they want to get to know you more. It creates demand and demand. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the best. It's the best when you start dating a guy and you're like pouring into him and he's pouring into you, and then you want it, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. Like, it's the same thing. Human connection is human connection. And I think it's important to like write down what those risks are outside of your like main niche category. What are the risks of the topics that you're willing to kind of talk about with people? Knowing those is like it's a good thing. It'll help guide language you use, which direction you go when you like start to talk about it with people. But I really think like off the cuff kind of content like that feels like genuinely like it's on your heart, I don't think you can go wrong with it. The third misconception that I feel like is hyper pushed to content creators is don't read your comments. What are you, a pussy? No, we're reading the comments, okay? We're reading the fucking comments. I'm not saying don't be affected. I'm not saying be a robot. You're going to be affected. And then you're going to ask yourself why you're affected. Is it true? If somebody calls you blue, are you blue? You have to ask yourself these things and be very real with yourself, because you're going to have some thick skin. You want to grow, you're going to have to deal with some shit. I deal with shit all the time. I've been told to kill myself over and over. Some days I laugh because I'm like on it and I feel very confident that day. Some days I'm like, oh, maybe they're right. And they're not. Okay, these are like unhinged human beings. But just like every family's got like every family, every party, every industry, there's like bad eggs, you know? You're going to find that. And they're the people that end up helping you see what you're made out of. They're actually like gifts to you. They're making you stronger. They're making you more resilient. And they're making you question maybe some things that you should be questioning. Like, I've had people say things, and the reason I feel triggered is because I realize it's true. That sucks. But that's why I think it's important to ask yourself why it upsets you. I think you can use social media as a way to get to know yourself more, get to know your insecurities more. The data will help you understand yourself more because it's more experience, it's more processing. I think that reading the comments helps you understand what you're in demand for, what people feel and think, and what you can provide them with that gives them more value, and what you feel like you can authentically put out there. And then on top of that, I feel like it's a free data analysis. Okay. You've got free data here that people are giving you criticism. People are giving you feedback. Why would you not take that? Any business who is refusing that is not going to scale. How the hell are you supposed to know who your consumer base is? How are you not supposed to know what the demand is? It's what drives which direction you go in your business and what has demand to translate as a sale. Ask people, engage with them more directly if you need to. But you should read the comments, and you need to show gratitude. You need to thank people for being there. Thank them for their continued support, especially when you see somebody showing up in the comments over and over. You want to always thank them. Take the time to be gracious and kind and let them know like you're so grateful to have them there. You have to read the fucking comments, okay? Like, there's no weak bitches on social media, okay? If you want to grow, you got to be strong, okay? People used to tell me this when I started tattooing. It was like, it's a tough industry. You got to be a strong motherfucker to be on this, okay? You have to know that people will troll you. You have to know horrible things will be said about the way you look, the way that you put content out, the content you put out, the people you're friends with, the things you say. I mean, I've been called every name under the sun, and let me tell you, it's like, I can't say it doesn't always affect me, but what I can say is I never regret putting out things that felt true to me, because it does provide you with more of this like freedom to be who you are. And the more that you can let go of what other people think and go, I'm just putting it all out there, the more true you will be, the more your craft will grow, the more confidence you'll gain. So many great things come from it. So don't be afraid to read your comments, and don't be afraid that you feel something shitty from something someone said. That's so normal. But you need to push yourself to do that. Only like huge celebrities don't read their comments, and that's because someone's operating everything for them. And we ain't those people, okay? Like, we're trying to be real people. Real people are good people. I mean, they might be good people, but I'm not concerned with them. So yeah, don't forget to engage with them. They showed up for you. They didn't have to do this. So remember to be very, very gracious. overall, these 3 points come down to, instead of doing those things specifically, those steps, it's about being genuine. You can do things that translate to the same outcome, the consistency, the niche. Oh, wait, I missed one thing in the niche thing though. So if you're going out of the niche, right, and you're going to be talking to, your followers about something that's off topic, right? I'm an artist. I'm going to talk about government or worldly things, right? I'm going to have the art in the background. I'm going to be wearing Rust and Iron, which is the brand that I illustrate for. I'm going to have my, Rashelle Stetman published art book in the background. I'm going to do things that I'm going to be conscious of the visuals. Something in the visuals advertises my business. That is where you add 2 niches, right, into one reel. If you can get all 3, because you kind of want to have like 3 categories, but one main thing that is like the overhead kind of base. That is how, when people see you and they listen to what you say, they're also seeing this really cool art in the background, and maybe they're not actually interested in what you fucking say, right? But they're stoked on what the hell they're seeing in the background. So you give a second tier to an interest in a new follower opportunity. So that is, I think, a very, very smart thing. So consider the background, consider surroundings, what you're wearing. Maybe, if you're an illustrator, have like a pencil in your hair, or be wearing like a, whatever you wear when you draw art, or you're in your studio, what setting you're in. If you're a van lifer, like, I want to see your van in the background, or I want to see you in your van cooking at the same time that you're talking in your van. Like, something that brings in what your normal content is, but you're speaking on something that's outside of your niche. So it's not completely off, but it's just like, we're just dropping breadcrumbs of the fact that you actually are a wholehearted person and have thoughts and feelings and shit, So overall, it just really comes down to being real with people. And the more real you are, the more people will feel. And the more people feel, the more you feel. And then all of a sudden, it doesn't fucking feel like social media anymore. It feels like the real world, and the real world that we really want to live in. So that is my take on social media. And if you guys want to hear more on kind of like how to break down what those things would be specific to you, I do consulting. It's kind of like a case-by-case basis. I used to do it as part of my business, and I just love seeing really talented, wonderful people that I know have a lot to offer and just don't really know how to communicate that. I love being able to help them figure out the best ways to detail that through constructive things that they can actually process of how to get there. So I hope that this helped you guys. If this resonated with you, like, subscribe, share, please. Anything helps, you guys. This is such a new channel, and I'm still trying to figure out what exactly you guys are looking for as far as content. But I absolutely love being here, and I'm so glad that you were here for this episode, because this is a huge part of my life and what's got me here. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.
Rashelle's her name, and she's the real deal.